the director said, well, what have you done lately? And I said, well, lately I've done 13 shows. I worked every week. And he said, well, let's talk to Newman and Kennedy. And we went back to Newman and Kennedy says, oh, yeah. And Newman says, oh, yeah, I think so, yeah. Put the glasses on him, yeah. So that's the way I got Cool Hand Luke.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of Gunsmoke.
So many people know you from the versatile roles that you had, so many different ones on Gunsmoke. You came back, it seemed like every year, and did another character. The scripts were great on that. The crew was good. What was it about you, do you think, that made John Mantley say, I want to see Morgan Woodward in this part?
Pam Palafone, who I think was one of the best casting directors in Hollywood, brought me on. I couldn't do Gunsmoke with another, I won't mention his name. We had a run-in at Zev Studios. He had a different lifestyle than mine, and we didn't get along, and he would not invite me to do Gunsmoke, but he died. And then Pam Palafone was the casting director there, and she brought me on. And that was in 1965. And from 1965 to 1975, I did 18 Gunsmokes. I had done one 30-minute Gunsmoke before that. Had a couple of lines. I think I said something. They shot me off the horse. And so actually, in 10 years, I did 18 Gunsmoke. As a matter of fact, CBS in New York called John Mantley and said, there must be someone in Hollywood besides Morgan Woodward who can do Gunsmoke. And Mantley said, yes, but not as well.
And the characters were so different.
All different, yeah. Oh, that was a wonderful... I love doing those different characters.
Well, and they hold up. You watch them today, and I don't think there's a dramatic show on television that offered so many great actors the depth and the range that those scripts did. And they hold up because they were serious. They weren't a frivolous, throwaway, gimmicky show. They were solid dramas.
And so many great actors, Betty Davis and so many of the old folk. I shouldn't say that. Well, she's gone now, so she won't be mad at me. But, John Voight and all of those guys. Listen, Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford and I did a Gunsmoke together. And as a matter of fact, I'll tell you this quickly. I found out that he was a carpenter, and I said, hey, why don't you come over to my house? I've got some carpentry for you. And he said, give me a couple of weeks. I'm doing an office in Beverly Hills. He never came over. As a matter of fact, he had a little accident on the show. We were doing a shootout, and somebody came too close to him, I think, with the script. He fell and got a big gash in his chin. He won't forget that picture.
First of all, it was a great script, and it was based on, I think, provoked by the movie Shane. So the character that I played was very much like the character of Shane, a retired gunfighter who's trying to become anonymous and helping out a family of ranchers. And one of the things I remember was being delighted when I found out that Morgan Woodward was going to be in it. And in fact, I called him up and asked him if he had a ride to the airport. He did not, so I had my driver stop by and pick Morgan up. So Morgan and I got to ride in the car together and then on the plane and stuff. So it was an instantaneous camaraderie. And of course, I was a fan of his from Cool Hand Luke, who wasn't. And God, he was great, as always. I remember being glued to watching him work in a scene that I had nothing to do with. I could have been off somewhere, but I was sitting right there on the set watching him work and deliver a great speech.
I'm Bruce Boxleitner. My very, very good friend, Morgan Woodward, appeared on Gunsmoke in 19 episodes. He played characters with vast ranges. 18 character names are listed here. The episode and the year in which it was made. It's a very impressive list, because Morgan was an impressive man and, more importantly, an impressive actor. Everyone recognized him. He had one of those faces, one of those voices, and it was a great honor to know him. Let's read through his list of Gunsmoke characters, shall we? Calhoun in Potato Road, 1957. Deeks in 7 Hours to Dawn, 1965. Sholo in Taps for Old Jeb, 1965. Ben Rucker in The Good People, 1966. Earl Miller in The Whispering Tree, 1966. Beaumont in The Hanging, 1966. Zach Johnson in Vengeance, Part 1 and 2, 1967. Harl Townsend in Death Train, 1967. Grant Lyle in Lyle's Kid, 1968. Luke Brazo in Lobo, 1968. Josh Stryker in Stryker, 1969. Quentin Sargent in Hackett, 1970. Luke Dangerfield in Luke, 1970. Walt Clayton in The Wedding, 1972. Lamour Underwood in The Sodbusters, 1972. Bear Sanderson in A Game of Death, An Act of Love, Part 1 and 2, 1973. Abraham Wakefield in Matt Dillon Must Die, 1974. Sheriff Abel Rose in Gunsmoke, To the Last Man, 1992 TV movie.
I remember the Sodbusters was one of the better series on Gunsmoke that I did. Of the 19 shows that I did, Sodbusters I thought was an outstanding show. And Alex was very good. Alex Ford was very good. I thought he mastered the part beautifully. I enjoyed working with him.
Most people probably know you best from Cool Hand Luke.
You know, I hate to admit that because it was the only time when I was mentioned that I might be worthy of a Supporting Actor Academy Award. And I thought, He says, that's terrible. You know, I didn't say a word. That's the only time Academy Award was mentioned. So,
Well, your voice is so great, it's a shame you didn't say a word. But with that part, with those reflector sunglasses, I didn't to say anything.
you know, everybody remembers I had no idea that even today, Cool Hand Luke plays every week. I get a residual practically every week. And everybody remembers the man with no eyes.
Well, it's true.
So it's very gratifying, very deep.
Were you cast in that film?
The very last person that was cast, they had tried the SAG groups in Florida and Chicago and New York out here. And apparently somebody suggested Morgan Woodward. So as a matter of fact, I was in the famous watering hole there on Sunset Boulevard, and I got a telephone call from my agent. Said, can you get out to Warner Brothers? They want to talk to you about doing Cool Hand Luke. I said, what's Cool Hand Luke? And they said, well, it's just a little picture with Paul Newman. And I said, oh, I think I can make it out there. So I went out there and met Gordon Carroll, the producer. And he said, now we've looked at a lot of people, and you seem to look right for the part, but we wanted George C. Scott to do the part. And I said, well, what did George C. say about it? Did he want to do the part? And he said, well, no. And I said, well, I'm available. and so he said, can you get some pictures and send them up to our director in the location? And I said, sure, I'll get them. I'll bring them back, and you or someone else can take them up. So anyway, the next day I got called up, and Newman and George Kennedy and the producers were there. And by the way, Jack Lemmon was a silent producer on that picture. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yes, he was.
Did he ever go on location?
No, I never saw him. I never saw him on location. But anyway, Stuart Rosenberg, the director, said, well, what have you done lately? And I said, well, lately I've done 13 shows. I worked every week. And he said, well, let's talk to Newman and Kennedy. And we went back to Newman and Kennedy says, oh, yeah. And Newman says, oh, yeah, I think so, yeah. Put the glasses on him, yeah. So that's the way I got Cool Hand Luke. On the Saturday before we shot on Monday, I had to go back, close my house, get a house sitter. They didn't give me a script.
Well, you had no lines.
Yeah, but I need a script. I want a script. So anyway, I got back on Sunday night, got the script. I didn't go to sleep. I went through that script Sunday night, and I had a thing in mind because I had no lines. I pretty well knew exactly what I was going to do with the part, and I didn't change it. I didn't change it through the whole picture.
You made another great bad guy appearance in Firecreek with Henry Fonda and Jimmy Stewart, Jackie Scott again in that, Jack Elam.
Yeah.
Great film.
Yeah.
Really, that's a serious one.
That was a lot of fun.
Come on up, girl. Come on up there.
The girl got herself wet falling in, Bob.
I did not fall in. It was scaring me.
Although I was just a little scared.
You have a dress set to pay for.
Sure thing, Bob. Pretty dress for a pretty girl. Ain't never wasted money, honey.
I was really bad in that. I kicked that dog, and then I got drugged to death or dragged to death, whichever's grammatically correct. I dragged right out of town. Got my comeuppances.
What Well, when you were growing up in Texas, did you go to the movies and see films when you were?
Oh yes, oh yeah.
So what cowboy stars?
Buck Jones, I can, sorry to cut you off, I can name them all. Buck Jones, Tim Tyler, Hoot Gibson. That was, oh yeah, every Saturday. And I just didn't stay for one picture. I went right after lunch and stayed until the sun went down.
Well, what kind of theaters did they have in Texas?
Well, we only had one little theater. It had 75 seats in Arlington, Texas.
And how often did they change the films back then?
Maybe once a week. Once a week. I know that I went to see Will Rogers, not on a Saturday, but my mother and father wanted to go see Will. He was a favorite of theirs, so I remember seeing him on a weeknight. So they had maybe a couple of shows a week.
Did they have serials Saturday?
Oh yes, the Green Hornet. Oh yes, absolutely. You bet.
When you were in college, you did theater, but you did opera.
I wasn't acting. I was singing. I was studying opera. It was a minor. My minor was music, operatic music, but I graduated with a BBA degree in corporation finance.
Did that come in handy?
Well, it came in handy when I tried to do my bookkeeping. Yeah, it was okay.
Hi, I'm Rob Word, and I'm so glad you joined us today to watch this episode of A Word on Westerns. We have over 250 episodes up, and we've made them for people like you and for me who love Westerns. We're the only regularly scheduled talk show devoted to Westerns, and I want you to watch, comment, and share these episodes if you like them. All you have to do is go to this page right here, click on that, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.